Warning! The following video contains major spoilers for Drakengard 3, Nier, and basically the whole Drake and Nier franchise. So if you don't want to hear any of that, click off this video now. You have been warned. Hello everyone, MrStix here. Now today's topic is going to be a little interesting, to say the least. I scoured YouTube to see if I couldn't find anyone talking about what I want to discuss today, and seeing as how my efforts have ended in failure, I've decided I would make my own video about it. So assuming you've been drawn into this little video by the title, allow me to go ahead and lay my cards out on the table for you. Drakengard 3 is not a prequel to the Drakengard series. It just isn't. Now this is a rather bold claim, one that I'm not sure very many people will ultimately agree with, but regardless, I'm going to do my best to explain my reasoning, as well as open up discussion for future videos I'd like to make on other topics. Do keep in mind, all of this is pure speculation and theory. None of what I'm saying has been confirmed to be true, save for any quotes I pull in, so take most of this theory with a grain of salt. I believe it to be true personally, but it could very well be proven false as well, so keep that in mind while watching. And so, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive on into the wonderful world of Yoko Taro. The first major point I'd like to talk about is one that's always bothered me for the longest time. There is no real canon ending, which is very, very odd. I remember spending countless hours trying to connect the dots of this series. I watched Valkyrie Aurora's lore summary video several times, all the Clem's analysis videos. Nothing I watched ever seemed to actually connect the story of Drakengard 3 to Drakengard 1. Literally nothing. The closest ending to being canon is ending A, which features one's brother heading off to assumedly start the cult of the Watchers, but even that ending was connected to a story that didn't end up becoming Drakengard 1, so I'm still highly confused. The general consensus I got from forums and other sites is that the ending that leads to Drakengard 1 is rather ambiguous. It's more or less up to the player to decide which one becomes what, which doesn't really sit well with me. Usually it's pretty definitive which ending leads to the next game. In Drakengard 1, for example, ending E 100% leads to the Nier universe. There are no other ways for this to be taken. This ending for sure funnels into the Nier universe. Similarly, ending D is the canon ending of Nier, which becomes ending E, which again funnels into Automata. A theme present throughout all this is the idea that there is clear connection between these titles. No player speculation required. Drakengard 3 doesn't deal with any of that shit. There is no cut and dry black and white connection to any element of the future installments in the series. And I honestly doubt Taro would just leave it up to interpretation. No. Quite honestly, I think there's far more here than meets the eye. Now I'm going to put this point on the back burner for a sec so I can kind of shift gears and focus in on a different piece of evidence for my claim. The character of Accord. Truly an enigma, this android girl is seen throughout the game searching for the ideal ending. She's recording the events of different timelines and outcomes, even going so as far as to engineer an aspect of one herself. But the most mysterious thing about her is how she's an automata as well. While not directly seen, she is mentioned in both an archive and through NPC dialogue to be in the game, later confirmed to be in the Dark World by Taro himself. The Dark World being the part of Earth in perpetual night due to the axis of the Earth being thrown off. Now, when I first saw these events, I thought to myself, that's funny. How did Accord get to our world from Midgard? Maybe I was just naive, or maybe I was just too dumb to realize, but when I started to actually think about it, I realized something. What if it was the other way around? Accord didn't come from Midgard to our world, she came from our world to Midgard. I started to realize this more and more as I looked at her dialogue in Drakengard 3. She claims to be from the Old World, the futuristic city that appeared in Midgard in the past, which also happened to be the origin of magic in their world. So, what the fuck is going on here? We have Accord, a futuristic android who came from this city, and we have magic, the mysterious power that came forth after the appearance of the Old World. We know through the records pertaining to the lore of Project Gestalt and the events of Nier, that by using the Meso of the Dragon Angelus, humans were able to replicate magic for themselves. The magic found in Drakengard 3 could very well be the remnants of this magic humans created following the events of Nier. Perhaps for reasons unknown to us up to this point, Accord in the Dark World triggers an event using magic or some other power from Project Gestalt, linking our world to Midgard. This event is of course the Cataclysm. The Old World is actually a city Accord was in during her experiments, in her attempt to create the ideal ending. Accord's true goal or purpose might be to save everyone from their own destruction, to create or find a timeline that makes everything return to the way it should be and eliminate this despair. She might have been an android program with the sole function of saving humanity or something along those lines. Returning to a point in the past of the world responsible for our suffering, Accord began working to figure out the best way to move the future forward. Remember how I mentioned there is no canon ending in Drakengard 3? The answer to that one is simple. That's because we don't know what happens after the canon ending. because Drakengard 3 takes place in a different timeline than the original Drakengard 1, one where Accord is actively trying to find and secure the best ending for us all. Following the trends associated with the previous Drake and Nier titles, the canon ending of Drakengard 3 could very well be Ending D, leading into an unknown title in the Drakengard series that will settle this story once and for all. Now, this theory isn't without its flaws. For example, when the Old World appeared, it brought with it not just Accord, the city, and magic. Dragons and other magical creatures also appeared during the event. If the Old World truly is a city from the future of Nier, where did these dragons come from? I might have an explanation for this as well. The Hamelin organization. This group conducted a multitude of experiments in their efforts to further their scientific research. Truthfully, we don't know how far these experiments went. We know they performed a multitude of experiments and tests on the orphan children in their attempt to create an ultimate weapon and life form. My guess is, what if, in their efforts to create a weapon, they also created something more? What if they recreated the dragons? Angelus's body did burn up after the attack, we know that much. So humans at the time had a very clear image of what dragons looked like. Considering what kind of beings they were able to create with a meal, what's to say they couldn't take it a step further and create dragons, or fairies, or God knows what else? They could literally split the human soul from the body, for fuck's sake. I would not put it past them to create a few dragons. In fact, in my research for this video, it's even stated by Taro himself that, in the year 6230 of the Nier timeline, weapons made to resemble dragons were created to fight against the extraterrestrial invaders. Taro goes on to state that these dragons could be related to the dragons of the Drakengard series. Holy fuck. Now this opens up a whole realm of possibilities for discussion about who the Watchers really are, what the dragon's true goals are, and so on and so forth. But for now, I'm going to rest my case and say that there's a very good chance that the dragons from the Old World are the ones created by people in the Nier timeline. So let's go over what we covered so far. Drakengard 3 is not a prequel to the original Drakengard. It is actually a distant sequel to Nier Automata, set in a timeline where Accord, for some reason or another, has managed to send an entire city alongside the magic and dragons created by humans into the world of Midgard in an effort to hopefully fix the timelines, find the best ending, and save the future. Now there could be more to this story. For example, the Watchers might be a legion of androids back in our world's future, monitoring all that Accord does, who are in direct control of the dragons and are seeking to fix the world all the same. But at the end of the day, all of this is just speculation and theory. I don't know what the Taco Man is cooking up in that big round head of his, but I sure am excited about it. When thinking about where the series will go from here, I'm actually confident Drakengard 1 will get a remake of sorts. I think we'll see the future of Ending D of Drakengard 3, where Accord is now side by side with the time of that timeline, participating in events we have yet to actually see. My question is, if this will end up looping back around to become a cycle of despair, or if this new timeline will serve as the breaking off point, creating a better timeline for all characters involved, spanning from Drakengard 1 all the way through Automata. Who really knows? But like I said, I can't wait to find out. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the video, remember to hit that like button, it really helps out a lot. And if you want to see more of me, hit that subscribe button as well. And be sure to check out my Automata very hard playthrough for more Nier action. I'm suffering greatly, but at least I'm having fun suffering. And be sure to comment down below what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm looking forward to seeing what all of you have to say about my rather controversial theory. And with that all out of the way, again, I am MrStix, and I will see you all next time.